Hey folks, Friendo here. I have not made a video in a while, and I've been watching, but I've been steering clear of this antinatalism debate. But there was one thought, something Hannibal Barca 13 said, that I had some thoughts on. And that's that life does not require a justification. And I agree, but in agreeing I would restate it. Existence does not require a justification. And I would further restate that as a simple tautology. Existence is. Justification is an ought. Justification is an argument. Justification is a reason why. And the universe simply exists. A equals A. This is not an argument, perhaps in a formal sense, but in an informal sense, this isn't an assertion. This is an axiom. If its truth is denied, then no sensible arguments can follow. If we do not accept that existence is, then the reality of being is absurd. No argument can be made after that because it would rely on existence. Life is a part of existence. Now, life, you could say, justifies itself. It is imposed on non-life, to use anti-natalistic language, and it self-replicates. Its justification for being is that it is being. Now, this is not consciousness, this is just life. And to make an argument that life is not justified is to make an argument such as the weather isn't justified, or rocks aren't justified. Life exists absent of consciousness. Life simply exists. I would carry this across to consciousness as well, that it exists means that it requires no justification. But all justification will proceed from consciousness. That's the point you have to be at before the term justification even makes sense. That is your prerequisite before you can give a yes or a no on the subject of justification. You have to be past life, past existence, and at consciousness. So using the term justification prior to that is absurd. When we ask the question why, in a scientific context or in a philosophical context, it has two entirely different meanings. In an examination, in a study of the natural world, the scientific question why means what is the cause? The causal element that brought this into effect. But it doesn't give you significance. You could say, philosophically speaking, it's the problem with science, that the answer to any question will just bring up at least another question. Because all you're doing is getting larger or getting smaller in your observations. But you aren't addressing any issue of significance. Why do we have 10 fingers? Why not 20? Why do we have just 2 pairs of hands? Why not have prehensile feet? Why not have prehensile tail? Why not have a prehensile mouth? At various stages in our evolution, we have used all of these things to manipulate our environment, to build tools. Well, scientifically speaking, that's not really a comprehensible question. Because we could have We could have prehensile mouths, prehensile tails, prehensile feet. Why have one adaptation instead of another? At this point, we're into justification, we're into ought. When intentionally designing things, designing a bridge, designing a computer, designing any other piece of technology, it's a sensible question to ask, why did it have this design feature instead of this design feature? But in terms of nature and its processes, it simply doesn't make much sense. We could have any other number of adaptations apart from what we have. Why consciousness? Well, it's what we have. It's the position that we're in. It is our existence. We have to deal with it. Failing to deal with it gets us nowhere, because it's the starting point from which we must proceed to get anywhere. Now, the other meaning of why, the philosophical meaning, why, is what is the significance of this? Philosophically, causal agents are more or less irrelevant. If you ask why consciousness, it doesn't really matter what the process that evolved us into consciousness is. You might be able to say, I can map out brain patterns. That's fine, but that's also irrelevant to the philosophical question of why consciousness. That doesn't change its modal nature as something that we experience. Experience being a subjective phenomena will not be encapsulated in causal scientific inquiry. And that is the level of inquiry that justification springs from this philosophical question of why. What is the significance of an idea? What is the significance of a course of action? Why choose that instead of choosing something else? But that is where science and philosophy part ways, where one has a usefulness that the other one doesn't. And it swings both ways. Without pure scientific inquiry, our philosophical questioning will not proceed from a place of fact, but from a place of speculation. Without philosophical inquiry, there's nowhere for a scientific inquiry to go. So while the two have to remain separate as disciplines, they have to forever be combined. They have to always be employed simultaneously in our minds. And that is justification. The process by which we validate our beliefs, create scenarios to test them, and to engage others with our ideas to see how they challenge or confirm our own beliefs. And that is the process of consciousness as a function of life. And it does not require justification, because it is. It is the process of being in existence that we have to take for granted as a prerequisite, axiomatically, in order to have anything to debate, in order to have anything to justify. So that's my thought on those issues. Let me know what you think.